What's up, people? Welcome to Throttling Frames. This is your host Mayur, and I'm making a video on Spaceflight Simulator. It's one of those games that I've recently found on Android Play Store. It's an Android game. You have to play this game on phone. So from a long time, I was actually thinking about making a video on how to play this game, sort of a review video. And in the recent days, in India, we have a topic that's been picked up by everyone. That's the Chandrayaan 2, right? So I have the story to relate to this game. I thought with the help of this game, I'll try to show you what must have happened up there with the Chandrayaan. So yes, it's quite possible to do it in this game because Spaceflight Simulator is quite detailed when it comes to uh, maneuvering through space. You can actually start from scratch as building a rocket of your own, and then shoot it up the space. So let's quickly get into the game. I'm going to play this game on my phone. I have my phone screen mirrored to my PC, and that's how I'm recording. So let's just quickly get inside the option called build new rocket. This is a space where you can build a rocket. So before we start building the rocket, I will quickly brief you guys about the mission, the Chandrayaan mission, right? So going back to July 22nd, that's when the India's geosynchronous satellite, right? Uh, we launched the satellite into the Earth's orbit on this 22nd of July, right? On the 14th of August, I guess, the satellite, as in the vehicle, left Earth's orbit, and it was doing a maneuver called translunar insertion. I'm not a space expert over here. I mean, there are good chances that I am going wrong, but I will try to make it bring it as close as it has ever been. So Chandrayaan 2 on August 14th, it left the Earth's orbit, and then it successfully entered the lunar orbit, obviously the moon's orbit. So obviously every planet and the satellites, they have their own orbits, right? So the spacecraft left Earth's orbit on 14th of August and entered the lunar orbit, the moon's orbit, on I guess 20th of August, right? So and leaving the Earth's orbit is called translunar insertion, and entering the moon's orbit, the lunar orbit, is called lunar orbit insertion, right? So so once it enters the moon's orbit, it will then keep orbiting the moon, keep revolving around the moon, and then basically on I guess August 22nd, it captured the first image of the moon and sent it back to Earth. So that was not the mission, obviously, but that was one of the achievements of Chandrayaan 2. So on 2nd September, Vikram is the lander, right? The spacecraft. Once I'll go into the building of the spacecraft. We will part it by names. You guys will be able to understand it better, right? So on 2nd of September, Vikram successfully separated from the orbiter. So now the orbiter is the geosynchronous, the whole spacecraft. Let's call it the orbiter. Obviously, there will be boosters to it that must have separated from the spacecraft the moment it left Earth's what do you call it, atmosphere, or the Earth's gravitational pull. The moment it left that, beyond that, the boosters must have been separated from the main body, and then the orbiter might have just traveled ahead. So I will start building the rocket, and that will be a better way to explain the whole situation to you guys. Yes, so on 2nd of September, the Vikram, that is again the lander. So that the part which was supposed to land on moon, that part of the spacecraft was called Vikram, and inside Vikram there was Pragyan. So Pragyan was the rover that was supposed to get down on moon's surface, and then collect I don't know rocks or the soil samples or something like that sort, and then probably come back to the Earth. And then the later program was to study that whole material that was being brought back from Moon. So that was the whole mission of Chandrayaan 2, right? So let's just quickly dive into the game and start building the rocket so that you guys will be able to understand it better, right? So this space, can you see the sort of have you seen a graph paper? Yeah. So can you see this workspace? This is the workspace, right? And in this workspace, what you can do is, if you can click on this option button, you get these options called the basic, big parts, giant parts, aerodynamics, electric, utility. So let's just start with giant parts, right? And this is the what do you call it? This is a thruster, right? Titan engine. This is the engine, right? So I'll install 3 or maybe 5 of these. Let's install 5 of these, right? Yeah, perfect. And then on these 5 engines, what I'll do is I'll install the fuel tanks. So this is one. This is too thick for this one, so let's just go to big parts, right? And then try installing this one. Yeah, this looks good. So yeah, this looks good. So these are the fuel tanks, and now the fuel tanks are connected to the 5 engines. Let's call this part of the flight the booster. The primary objective of the booster is to boost the spacecraft out of the Earth's gravitational pull, right? So let's just let's just quickly keep building that. Let's say giant parts, and yeah, let me continue building that till say over here. 4 of these tanks. No, that'll be too heavy is what I feel. So let me get to big parts, and then add these over here. Right. I guess this much fuel is more than sufficient for the boosters to set the aircraft beyond that Earth's gravitational pull. After that, what I'll do is I will put a connecting giant parts. Yeah, and these are the connectors. Clicking on these connectors, it will detach the body once it's out of the Earth's gravitational pull. Yeah, it detach the booster from the main body. So this is the booster, right? I will what I'll do is aerodynamics. I'll go to this part. No, wait, I'll go to this part. Looks more aerodynamic than what that was. Try to connect it over here, right? Yeah. Or let me just try connecting this one. Yeah, this looks better, and it's more aerodynamic, right? Similarly over here. Yeah. Alright, so now I have my booster part ready, right? So if I press on this once we are into the space, what that will do is it will disconnect my booster from the main body. So this is the booster is done. Now let's begin building the main body, right? So for main body, what I'll do is I have to make my main body a little light, right? So I'll install 2 of these again, right? 2 of these engines again, and on that I will keep this. So this is my main body again, and I'll so the taller I go making my aircraft, this spacecraft, the taller I go, I will go tapering it slow and steadily, the shape, because eventually I have to make it a rocket, and rocket has to be as aerodynamic as it can get. So that will help it maneuver quickly through the space, right? So we have started building the main body now. So let me add 3 fuel tanks over here. So I have again 2 Titan engines. That is the biggest engine that you get in this game, the most powerful engine again. I have 3 more tanks on that, so that will fuel these 2 engines below this, right? And yeah, so now I am I'm almost there, and I'll start building the lander, right? So all right, I guess I don't need this fuel tank. I'll just bring it down because I need space to build the lander, right? So yeah, this looks good. Right, I'll start building the lander now. So for lander, what I'll do is I'll go to the big parts and start installing. No, not this giant parts. Do I have anything slimmer than that? No, I do not. So I'll have to install big parts. Yeah, this looks good, right? Perfect. So again, for lander, I will use basic and this engine, the Hawk engine. It's this engine is more than enough to bring down the velocity, the traveling velocity, so that the lander lands softly on the lunar surface, right? So this should do the job. Or what else? What I'll do is I guess I will need that. So let me just go to the giant parts again and install 3 tanks over here. I'll try and build a smaller Pragyan, right? Pragyan is the rover that's inside the lander, right? So don't get confused between Vikram and Pragyan. They are completely 2 different things, right? So now let me go into the basics and get this booster. Oh wait, I need to put a separator over there. So giant parts and the separator. Yeah, perfect. And after the separator, I'll install one more engine. Yeah, this engine will help me bring my lander down safely, right? So on that, what I'll do is I'll go to big parts and install a bigger engine, right? And with that, I will also quickly go to the basics and install the legs, right? Install them over here. No, actually, okay. I will have a problem with this because the legs, basically what they do is they retract and then they extend in this game. But this engine, the Hawk engine, it's taller than the legs itself. So the legs won't be able to make it to the surface, and the engine will definitely be an hindrance. So I'll just get this engine off from here and install the, what is it called? It's called it's called the Broadsword LF engine. I'll install this engine instead, right? And what that will do is it will help me install my landing. What do you call it? You call it landing leg, right? Yeah, it's pretty simple, right? You call it landing leg. Just I don't think rocket science is that difficult. Just kidding. So yeah, so now I have my bigger tank over here. I'll have one more over there. Let me go to the big parts, right, and install one more over here. And post that, I will then taper it further, right? So what I'll do is I'll install this. No, wait, no, not this. Yeah, this, and then again one more of this, right? So this should be my lander, and let me call this part, the 3 tanks and the 2 engines, let me call this the orbiter, right? So this has let's consider that this has a thermal imaging system. So very recently, on the 9th of September, we had this news, a tweet from ISRO saying the orbiter has been able to click thermal images of the lander that has surfaced on the moon. So we are yet not sure about how it is. What's the condition? Has it crashed? Has it broken down to pieces, or it's completely intact? We have no idea on that because they haven't been able to re-establish the connection with the lander yet. Hopes high. Let's see. So so let's just start building the Pragyan now. So the Pragyan is the rover that's going to land on the moon, then collect samples like I said before, right? So aerodynamics, and let me go to aerodynamics. Let me start making the cone and then extend it to this size. Yeah, this size should be good. So I'll keep adding these parts. What this is doing is basically I'm getting myself a canopy, right? A canopy which will basically help me house my Pragyan, right? So inside this canopy I will start building the Pragyan, right? What I'll do is I'll install two electromagnets. Let me go to no, I don't know for what reason they haven't kept the electromagnets in electricity. So let me install the bigger magnet over here, yeah, and turn it back, and one more on that. So these will disconnect, right? And then let me get the structural parts and start building the rover. Okay. I'll put one over here, I guess over here. This should do good. Let me see if I'm able to. No, I won't be able to place that wheel. So let me go to the basics and install the smaller wheels. Yeah, this wheel looks good, but the problem is the magnet, right? So let me just take the electromagnet docking port. They call it docking port, but that is electromagnet is what I feel that it should be. Again, I'm no rocket scientist over here, not a space expert over here. I can go wrong, but this is what it must have been, right? So let me go to the utility and take a smaller magnet, or let's just call it the docking. What do you call it? The docking port. Similarly, even the this side I'll put a smaller magnet, right? Perfect. So this looks good now, and right, yeah. So the wheels will be able to rotate without having any obstruction in between. So that I'm starting to build my Pragyan, that's the rover, right? So I will get more structural parts, and I'll have one more over here. No, not this. Perfect. Now it looks good, fits perfectly, right? I'll install one more wheel over here. Let's make a 6x6, right? So you'll be only able to see 2 wheels or 3 wheels because this is sort of a 2D game, not really a 3D game. So I have installed 3 wheels over here. Let's just consider that they are 6, right? 3 on each side. Alright, now I'm done installing my wheels. I have my structural part ready. I am going to install the what do you call it, the RCS thrusters, right? They can work on battery as well as fuel. So these are the RCS thrusters. These thrusters, what they do is like you can see, they have outlet on all 3 sides, and one side's obviously they are just they need some surface to get connected to the body. All right, now let me install this part. What is this? So this is the probe. A shuttle, a spacecraft cannot fly without the probe, because probe is the one that controls the whole thing. So I've now installed a probe. Apart from that, my rover needs power. My spacecraft definitely has a lot of power through the engines and the fuel tanks that it has, but the rover will need a separate power to it. The engines are the fuel tanks are not going to help over here. So what I'm going to install is I'm going to install batteries, right? So batteries will power, but there has to be something. If the batteries run out, what will you do? So I will install a solar panel, right? So this is a solar panel, and now I have 2 RCS thrusters. I'll add 2 more, right? Let me go to the basics and add 2 more RCS thrusters, one on each side, one over here and one over here, right? So I have 4 RCS thrusters now, right? And for quick, no wait, so if I have to get it back to Earth, I'll need a parachute. So let me go to the utility and get a parachute for the this one, right? Now I can, so now my rover, the Pragyan, let's call this structure Pragyan, and the Pragyan is now, it's done, it's built, right? It's ready for takeoff, right? I have everything. I've made my fuel tanks, I've got my orbiter, I've got my Vikram lander, and I've got my Pragyan rover, right? I've got all of those that's been there on the Chandrayaan 2 mission, right? So now let me reduce some weight. I do not need this space, so I will try getting this part out and connecting this part directly to this part. No, it can't be connected. So I do not have any other options but to get this part. I can try that. Let me try that. Aerodynamics, and let me install this part here and get it over here. No, that does not work. So I will need that part over here. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I can do. I cannot reduce any more weight over here. So let me quickly unzoom this whole thing and let me quickly show you what the whole rocket is. So the part that yeah. So this is the lander, right? This whole thing that you see it on your screen right now is the lander, right? This is gone missing, right? Vikram lander. Let's call it Vikram lander, right? This is gone missing. Then what you see on your screen now is the rover, right? This is the Pragyan rover, right? It's housed in the rocket, in the lander, right? Now let me go out again, and the part that you're seeing right now, yeah, this is the orbiter, right? This is basically what it's doing is it's orbiting around the moon, right? This is the orbiter, okay, and this is the booster. So what this booster is basically do is it's going to push us out of the Earth's gravitational pull. Now let me, I'm not sure if this is going to work, right? Let me try. Wait. Yeah. Okay, let me try putting this into space and see if it actually works, right? So let's just click on the play button, right, and rotate the screen. Yeah. So this is how